Welcome to Strong and Steady, where we talk about building strength, supporting your health, and choosing sustainable wellness for women in every season of life.
And I'm Brittany. I'm here with my co-host, Jessica. She's a mom of 4 littles with such a grounded, realistic approach to balance for low-tox living. She helps busy moms build healthy habits that actually work in real life without perfection or overwhelm.
And I'm Jessica, here with Brittany, a woman's health and fitness coach who specializes in elite aging. She helps women build strong bones and muscles so they can live their whole lives to the fullest with confidence, strength, and independence.
And together, we have over 2 decades specializing in the health and fitness industry. So whether you're in the thick of young motherhood
or focused on staying strong for the long run,
we are so glad you're here. Hey, welcome to the Strong and Steady podcast. It's Brittany, and I am so excited that you are here today. So we are going to be touching on I guess you could say it's like a hot topic, or kind of an unpopular opinion, but that Christians should be the healthiest people. And we are going to deep dive into why that is, and also how to apply that into your life. So Jessica and I, we're going to go over this today. So Jessica, you want to start us off with
yeah.
this topic?
And kind of like what you were saying, like hot topic, but also unpopular. Just, I feel like it's not something talked about much. Like, as Christians, we're told to, do well, to like it's touched on, take care of your bodies, but what does that actually mean? And so I think that's kind of what we're going to dive into a little bit today is like, what does the Bible talk about and how should we be taking care of our bodies? And so we've talked about it before too, like our body is a temple of God and we were created in his image. And with that, like God designed our bodies to be perfect. Sin came in and totally messed everything up and it sucks. But
Yeah.
there's still like, that doesn't mean we're defeated. We should still be taking steps to be taking care of our bodies. I know like I think it was about 2 weeks ago now, our house got hit with something and it sucked. And like, I'm still recovering from that, but like the tiredness from it and just kind of that drag you have, it's not helping me, it's not helping my family. And growing up, I always just thought, and as I became an adult, like, oh, okay, I'm an adult means I'm going to be tired, means I'm going to get sick a lot, but like that's not the reality God wanted for us. He calls us to take care of our bodies and to be good steward of our bodies. We need to be taking care of our bodies, like we've talked about with the working out, the food we're eating, supplements we're doing, drinking our water, being outdoors, just so many different things we can be doing to take care of our bodies.
Yeah, well, and I love that because, and I had heard it also that this doctor was explaining it is that see the biohacking and, like, oh, we got to live as long as possible, or, you're trying to hack your biology basically. But really the goal is to get our body back to where God created it.
Mhm.
And God created us healthy. He did not create us sickly.
Mm-mm.
Like, I'm sorry guys, but we're not like, because of the fall, because of Adam and Eve, yes, we have sicknesses. We have these issues that are just natural. Yes. But a lot of our sicknesses nowadays are stemming from our habits.
Mhm.
Like, we're not getting outside enough. We're not getting the vitamin D. Like, honestly, doctors have made us afraid of the sun, which is not good because it's essential for our bone health. Because if you look like vitamin D, that is essential for stronger bones.
Mhm.
And it's also essential for mental health. Like, I kid you not, I take my daughter out literally every single day on a walk. Like, and even when my husband's home, like on those weekdays where he's off for a holiday or whatever, I will tell him, I'm like, okay, we're going to eat breakfast and then we're going to go on a walk. You can join us if you want, but Brooke has to get outside
Mhm.
or she's going to drive me crazy and I'm going to drive
Yeah.
myself crazy. And it's like the sun is so important for your mental health. Grounding, like getting your feet in the
Mhm.
grass is extremely important for your circadian rhythm. And so with this, like, and Jessica and I, we were talking about this before we started this, was so I was raised Baptist. And if you know us Baptist, we love our potlucks. We
Oh,
love our
yes.
casseroles. And then but also though, I was raised at my parents were not like this. They loved the contemporary music and all that stuff. But there were a few people in our church that were the original, I guess you could say the original Baptists, where they're like hymnals only, no dancing and no drinking. But guess what? Do you know how many large fat pastors we have? And and that's the problem, is that it's like you're calling this a sin, but guess what? Gluttony is a sin. And the reason that it's a sin is because you think about gluttony, like you don't overeat because I don't know, just because it's normal. You overeat because you are trying to fill a void. And whatever that void is, and we were even talking about the how we can fill those certain voids, whether it's healthy or not healthy. You are still trying to put something in to a God-shaped hole. Like it's a God-shaped hole that nothing else can fill. And that includes your food, that includes unhealthy things, healthy things, getting outside or whatever. If we are putting that above Christ, then it is not going to work or have that lasting fulfillment.
Yeah, and like you were saying with the pastors, that's one thing like I really respect about my pastor where we're at right now is he's up on the podium saying like he's talking about how he is working on his health. Like, he's like, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. And like, obviously, no, he's not perfect at it. None of us are, but like, he's up there trying to be that model for us. Because too, like, we have to think when we are low on energy, when we're cranky, when we're, in that funk, we can't serve God to our fullest. Like, we're tired, so we're most likely on the couch. Like, we're cranky, we in my house right now with the kids, we have the spread God's love phrase. Is this spreading God's love? Well, if I'm cranky, I'm not going to be doing a good job at spreading God's love.
No.
Like the words might be there, but the action, the love, it's not there. And just like keeping that in mind that when we are not at our best, like we are not able to serve God like he has called us to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I've even noticed since I have become a mom, obviously you have a baby, you're not going to get quality sleep. I'm
No.
sorry. Unfortunately, it's not it. And even with a 14-month-old, when everybody tells me, "Oh, she should be sleeping through the night." Well, I'm sorry, but she's
No.
not. So thank you for making me not feel so good.
Mhm.
But and the thing is though, is that I really have to watch myself of not being cranky or angry, because you add the lack of sleep, you add the mineral deprivation or whatever you want to call it, because you're breastfeeding, and then you add work, and then you add, oh, you still have a husband that needs you also, and there's so many different things, and then you have church activities that, to be honest, it's a lot, but you're not able to serve God in the correct manner. Like, I think, you know, so many times we think of like, oh, I just got to do this stuff and then God will be pleased. Well, no, God is very concerned about the motivation and the heart behind it too. And so when you are not well rested, when you have too much on your plate, when you are doing all of these things that are not serving your nutrients, your body, your emotions, even reading your Bible, that is extremely important
Mhm.
for your physical health too. That spiritual health and that physical health is like they go together. You cannot have one without the other. And that's why it's so important to do that, because we have to be um I don't I'm losing my train of thought. But
Come on, brain.
yeah, lack of sleep here. But But it and that's the thing is like you can't be that person that you need to be because and honestly, I think about my grandma. I love her to death. She has been one of the biggest blessings in our life. She has always cared for us. She was my best friend growing up. Like she would take us on outings. We would go to the beach. We'd go to Dairy Queen and get whatever, which obviously is not healthy. But she was such an important role in my life and my walk with Christ. And she's fixing to turn 79 next month. And the sad thing is that she has dementia right now. So she can't drive. She can't hardly do anything for herself. She can't even remember how to get out of her chair. And to be honest, like, I mean, if you're younger, you're like, oh, 78, that's old. But no, to be honest, it's actually really young. And that's why it's so important not just to be like, oh, hey, I'm 70, I've got osteoporosis. Now I need to work on my health. No, you have to work on your health in your 30s and 40s because that's when the bone loss starts, is especially for us women, is that it starts in our 30s and 40s. And so it's having that future mindset to work towards what God has given us and being that good steward. Like, and also I think of like our body is a temple of the Lord. So the Holy Spirit resides in us. This is what we believe is that the Holy Spirit is inside of us. And you think when you walk into a church, let's say I have a big red or a soda, and I've got my Twinkie and all that stuff, and then I'm like, oh, oops, I spilt it all over the floor. Oh, I ate my Twinkie. I'm just tossing it or tossing the packaging everywhere. Like, no, you're going to like that is a church. You are going to keep it spit spot clean because it's God's house. Why do we have a different mindset when it comes to our bodies? Because our body, like God does reside in us. So why are we trashing it when literally we are made in God's image and He is inside of us?
Yeah, and you point out like the mindset. I think that's a huge part of it too is just taking that mindset shift. Like instead of thinking, "Oh, I have to work out," which honestly, I know for me that's usually my go-to is, "Oh, I have to work out." Like, but taking that and switching it to even I get to steward this body. Like I get to do this to honor God. Like one, I get to do it because I am physically able to, but also like I get to do this for God. Like we talked about with Dana, it's faith and fitness, they go together. We are working out, we are honoring God by taking care of our bodies. Um and just kind of growing in that mindset is, I think that's half the battle sometimes because our mind, we all know our mind can, controls so much of our body. It impacts us so much. And that being able to just have that mindset shift is half the battle. And then on top of that is the discipline. Like a lot of times motivation is not there. Like if we're waiting for motivation to come, most likely
It's not coming.
it's not coming. We're not going to do it. We're going to find those friends who help us go, oh no. And honestly, I have been this friend. And again, I'm working on it to go, oh yeah, you deserve to sit on the couch and eat that ice cream instead of working out, instead of saying, hey, no, like go do something first. Like go move your body, go take care of your body. Like you were saying, go outside. That's even just so big for us. Like you were saying, your daughter, like if she's not outside, she's cranky. Same with my kids. Like they'll be like, oh, can we go outside? I'm like, it's pouring down rain. Like I want you to, but also like I don't want you to. Or, our youngest, she's, about your daughter's age too. And she will sit at the front door. Like if our older three go out, she will sit at the front door, like screaming, trying to open the door until I open the door and let her outside. Then she's like, okay, I'm good. But it's like, I think of the have faith like kids. It's kind of the same thing. Like they still have that instinct of, oh, outside helps me. And just like you said, go outside. But like that's such a big part of taking care of our bodies as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's crazy at how exercise and eating healthy regulates you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Yeah, and if any of y'all have done a sugar fast for any amount of time, you know that like how you feel when you actually do eat the sugar, how you feel anxious. Like personally, I get heart palpitations when
Hmm.
I have sugar now because I don't have it. I'm not feeling my body with that. And then and how our bodies actually react because again, it goes back to the thought of we need to get our bodies back into what God has created. And you're not able to do that when you are filling it with junk food. And we can say, and my mom and I we were talking about this, but my dad, he was my senior project when I was in high school. He was like, "Okay, you want to be a nutrition coach and a personal trainer? Okay, you got to fix me first." And so I kid you not, I was like grabbing cupcakes out of his hand and crushing them so he would not eat them because he had such this hold with this food. And and so but he's very good about eating for weight loss. So you can count your macros, you can count those fruity pebbles into your macros, into your calories for the day. You can count ice cream, you can count all that stuff into your macros. And obviously, I am not saying, oh, you have to be strict and never have ice cream ever again. No, but you can count those in and you can lose weight on that. But are you nourishing your body? Are you treating it the way that God has intended it? And like Jessica was saying with the mindset, if we shift that mindset from, I guess you could say, even like, oh, I need to lose weight, I need to lose this 20 pounds, then we're shifting it to, is this nourishing my body? Is this fueling me? Is this giving me brain clarity? Is this building muscle? Is this building my bone density? Is this making me the best mom that I can be for my kid? Or is this going to give me heart palpitations? Is this going to make me tired and lazy and sit on the couch? Is this going to make me have digestive issues? Like there are so many things, and food is fuel. Like you think about yeah, and it was funny. I think we would watch Daddy Daycare and the
Yep.
old movie. Yeah. And how he was talking about how she's like taking I think it's the Beamer or whatever it is, the BMW, and and he's like, "You have to fill it with this certain gas," basically is
Hmm.
what he's telling her. And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." But I mean, that's like with our body too. Like you are not going to take a Ferrari and give it Walmart gas. I'm sorry, but it's not going to run well. It's not just going to not run well, but it's not going to last as long. And it was funny though, because even my husband and I were like, I don't really care how long that I live. Like, yeah, I think it would be awesome to live long enough to have great grandkids and all that stuff. They're like, but I want the quality. I want the
Hmm.
quality of life. I do not want to be on this earth for 100 to 120 years. And most of that's in a nursing home, not being able to drive, not being able to wipe my own butt. Like, there are so many things that you can't do if you do not take care of yourself now.
Yeah, and you mentioned the daddy daycare. It's I see like the reel goes around a lot, especially in the low talks, where it's like the strict back. Well, even now, sometimes still seen as the strict mom. They're like nothing high in fructose or sucrose or dextrose, nothing with red dye number 6 or yellow dye number 2, like, and all of that. But again, it goes back, like you were saying, to what are we fueling our bodies with, like, or are we fueling our bodies? I know for me, if I have dye, especially like red dye, like honestly, there are sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's worth it. It's just a little treat. But I also know that like for the next week, I am going to be more on edge. Like I have to be very careful of, like especially like reacting to the kids, like because now that I know because I've cut it out, that when I do have it, I see that difference and I am aware of it. And, I'm like, yeah, there's times I do it. I try not to. But anyways, but knowing that reaction, I'm like, I can't imagine if I was living this way every single day. And so, like you were saying, it goes back to what are we fueling our bodies with? And so that's definitely like one of the big things we can start to change to help us as we are stewarding our bodies is like just being mindful of what we're putting in. I was doing grocery shopping today, and pretty much 99% of my grocery shopping is online. Partly because one, for kids, I'm not taking kids into the
I
grocery
have one
store.
kid and I hate
Yeah.
taking her into the
No.
store.
And I mean, it started with Jackson because it was COVID. And so pickup started and that was that. But just not taking kids in the store. But also, like, budget wise, it helps so much because I'm seeing how much are we spending if I need to take something out, if I want to add something in. But then also just being able, like, to have that time to compare, okay, like, am I getting this one organic? Is this a fruit? Like, I was looking up because I couldn't remember, and we posted it, the dirty dozen, clean 15, and kind of what falls in the middle. And especially those like middle ground ones, I'm like, oh, where's this fall? Like, I was able to stop and look like, hey, is this something I should be buying organic? Is this something like that's cleaner, even if it's not organic? Or like looking at chicken, like, okay, I know there's the organic chicken, but for $3 cheaper, is it worth it? Or is it worth spending that extra $3 a pound? And just being able to compare it and take that time to see, okay, what are we buying? What are we putting in our bodies? And how is it going to affect us? Do we need to swap it out? Is this a good choice for us?
Yeah. Well, and I don't want y'all to hear this as like, oh, you're judgmental, like you've got to be strict, strict, strict.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to empower y'all to become the best version of yourselves. And then also look at this in the light of eternity. Because to be honest, there's a lot of times that I think, the heck with it. I'm going to have it because we're all going to die anyway. Like it's fine,
Yep.
and we cannot be perfect. But at the same time, looking at our physical health in the light of eternity is, how am I fueling my body to help me feel my most positive, the best, so that way I can go out and serve people and to share the gospel? Like, do you know how many cranky Christians I know? It's annoying. It is so annoying because I'm like, girl, you got the Lord inside of you and he's walking with you every day. Why do you have such a bad attitude? Which
Mm-hmm.
I'm preaching to the choir because or like I'm preaching to myself also because
Yep.
I'm like, come on, Brittany, get it together. And it was funny though, because we were at a church service one time and this evangelist, he was going around, he's like, how are you doing, man? It's deep south. And this lady, she's like, I'm here. And he goes, you are here to worship the God of the universe that knows every hair on your head, who created you, who knew you before time, and like just went on and on and on. And all you have to say is, you're here? That's it. And I think about that because it's like, and the God bless this lady, but she did not take care of her health. She was just there, just hanging by a thread because she did not prioritize fueling her body. And a few, I guess you could say, like a few misconceptions that we want to break is that God cares more about your heart than your body. And yes, that is true, but it's incomplete, because you can be
Mm-hmm.
praying all day long about your health, but if you are still stuffing your face with Cheetos, with Cheerios, with Twinkies, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure God's just shaking his head like, I'm sorry, but I'm not changing that molecular structure inside of you. Like, we have to take care of both.
That's like I think of some people when they pray, and please be with this food and change the molecular structure so that it nourishes my body. Like, it's not happening. You know what you're about to eat is not healthy. You're praying for it to change. It's not going to change unless you change it. And like you were saying, like this, it's not for judging, it's or anything, but it's that kind of know better, do better mentality. Like, okay, we'll take it one step at a time. What can you swap? And what can you be doing to help better yourself for the kingdom of God?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and also like another misconception is like fitness equals vanity. And to be honest, it's not. Like for me, and I know I mean, you see it all over TikTok and everything of like, I swear every girl is showing off their butt. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't care. And then it's all about the abs and everything. But the way I see it is like our fitness, and this is what I teach in my elite aging program, is that it's not necessarily about weight loss. Like, yeah, weight loss is great, but I want to be able to transfer what I do in the gym into everyday life. Like, the fitness is doing your deadlifts, your squats. Like, squats, you got to sit on the toilet and get off the toilet when you're 90.
Mhm.
Deadlifts, you want to be able to pick up your kid without pulling your back out. Pressing overhead, that's being able to get stuff off the top shelf without like literally dislocating your shoulder. Fitness is so important because it's building that body. And even Paul or Peter, I can't think right now, but he was even talking about the race in life and how it's like
Mhm.
we need to run this race, and it's with that eternal goal. And I mean, he uses it as an athlete. And so you think about this, but it's like we are also athletes for God. We are running this race, and we want to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And I'm not saying that you will not hear that if you're not taking care of your body. But can you imagine how many more things that you can do when you take care of your body?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was Paul who said that. I was trying to look it up real quick. I want to say it was like Philippians.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, just like you were saying, we want to hear that good and faithful servant. Like we've been saying, God calls us to take care of our bodies, and without it, like we just can't be our best versions for him. And I think sometimes too, another misconception we hear is that if you're not suffering, like suffering equals holiness, and that's just not. It's not true. Like, yes, God does tell us there are times where we are going to suffer for Him, but He doesn't call us to live in just like this state of suffering. And so, I know sometimes, when we're working out, we're like, oh, I'm suffering. And it goes back to that mindset. Like, I'm not suffering to be holy. Like, yes, there will be times that happens, but all in all, like, no, he doesn't want us to live miserable. Like we said, he designed us to be perfect, and sin entered and messed everything up. And that's been a huge topic in our house lately with our oldest is, why do we have this? We're like, well, we have sin. And then he will randomly be like, where I'm like, why are you crying? He goes, because of sin. And part of me is like, oh, that's so sweet. And part of me is like, okay, it's been 3 weeks of this now. Like, move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But taking that and reminding, like, yes, there is sin in the world, but that doesn't mean we have to live in it. We have to live in suffering. Like, we can take it. We can do good even in the
Yeah.
middle of it.
Yeah. Well, and you also think about, like, I guess you could say that victim mindset. Like,
Hmm.
God doesn't want us to live in that, to where, like, oh, woe is me. I'm suffering and everything. And yes, there is certain suffering that just happens because we live on earth. Like, there are some things that they don't have answers. I hate to say it. And, one day I say that we'll ask God when we get to heaven, like, why do we have mosquitoes? That's a suffering that we
Yes.
have here in the South. But,
Uh,
but at the same time, it's like when we get to heaven, we're not even going to be thinking about that. But we cannot have this victim mindset, because what happens is then we're not fixing it. God wants us to, I think Levi Lesko says it, is that we pray like it's all up to God, but we work like it's all up to us. And that literally is that balancing beam of, like, you have to pray. Yes, pray over your health, pray over your kids' health. Pray that God, like, there's that spiritual warfare that goes on, because again, if you're an emotional eater, that is a spiritual warfare too.
mhm.
And so you have to pray and say, like, Lord, please just break me from this bondage of having to trying to fill this void with food, or if I'm trying to fill this void with other things. And so there's that spiritual aspect, but then also we have to do the work. We have to pick ourselves up and say, okay, what does God want me to do? What can I do with this? And so it's like, you may have a diagnosis, or an autoimmune disease. And yes, and I am so sorry that you are going through that. That is some serious suffering. I know that because it's like low energy and you just don't feel like yourself anymore. But there are so many things that you can do naturally. Like God has created our bodies to be able to heal. And sometimes that healing is on earth and sometimes that healing is on the other side of heaven. But we have to do what we can to nourish our bodies, to do what God has told us to do. And yeah,
Yeah, like you were saying with the autoimmune, for those who don't know, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and so I see the difference. Like, I was diagnosed at 17, and I started learning about gut health, I think I was about 22 or so, and like, the kind of before and after, I remember even before, especially like getting sick. I mean, it lasted. I get a bruise, it lasted. And just because like my immune system was weak. And then when I started learning about gut health and taking care of my body and, fueling it and nurturing it, like even with diabetes, my immune system grew. Like that's one of the things that gets attacked with it. But like my immune system was able to get stronger. And even now, like I'll be honest, the past month or so, I had kind of gotten off of it, and then that sickness hit, and like you might be hear it, like it's still kind of lingering around, and I'm like, oh darn, like I was not taking care of my body, like I was not feeding it what it needed to help keep it strong. And so like, life happens, things change, but you get those reminders, and then it's what do you do with it? Do you stay off track or do you change it and you get back on track? And so I know some people are sitting here going, okay, this is all good and great, but like, what do I actually do to take care of my body? So, what would you say for that, Brittany?
honestly, the biggest thing that I would start off with is drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
I literally heard it from a client that was talking to her cousin today that's having a whole bunch of health problems. And she's like, "Oh, I just don't like the taste of water." And it's kind of like, "Okay, suck it up, get over it, drink water."
Yep.
Sorry, not to be a Debbie Downer here, but get over it. But adding the Celtic sea salt into your water, like water is life. We cannot live without water. Add the Celtic sea salt, add the lemon, do infused water if you don't like the taste of it. Add a little bit of stevia if you need a little bit of something like lemon, stevia, and water is super beneficial. And then again, adding that Celtic sea salt, that is going to help. So you want to start, so just think about the basics, drinking water. And then as far as like nutrition goes, prioritize your protein. You have to have enough protein. This is going to help you not reach for that junk food. It's going to help you feel more satiated, to where you're not craving those carbs because your body's is literally just wanting more energy. And protein helps boost your metabolism. It does all sorts of things, and it also obviously helps build muscle. And then along with that is do not miss out on the fiber. You have to have vegetables in your diet. I don't care if you don't like them. Again, suck it up, buttercup. but but it's also how you cook them. We were
Yeah.
having this conversation the other day, how my mom steamed vegetables, and I could not eat a Brussels sprout to save my life. I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't care if this helps me or not. I don't want to. But roasting your vegetables, sauteing them is really good. Do it in olive oil. Having that good like protein and fiber balance, and you get your fiber from your vegetables. And then also like find and now as far as like the working out, the moving your body, building that muscle, find something that you love to do and do it. Some sort of fun, sweaty activity, whether that is pickleball, whether that's weightlifting. And for me, like I lift like weights and stuff because it helps get my frustration out. As a mom, I'm like, I need to go lift some
Uh-huh.
weights. I need to drop this. And or it could be Zumba,
That's my
dancing.
favorite.
Yeah, it's really, really good for, getting your endorphins. Sorry, all I can think of is Legally Blonde when I say endorphins. Endorphins make you happy, and happy people just don't shoot their husbands. Well, it's 100% true. And, whatever that is, like, do it. Like, have that as your start. And if you're a person who doesn't like to lift weights yet, that's okay. That's totally okay. Find your fun, sweaty activity, get into that rhythm, and then start lifting weights. You have to do some sort of weight bearing exercise to help increase your muscle mass and your bone density, which are extremely important for whenever you age. So I would say that those would be the top three. And then obviously work on your gut health, doing gut healthy foods, gut health supplements and everything. And also do not be afraid of using supplements. Supplements are to substitute or supplement what we are not getting in our diet. And if you're a mom, then you don't always get all the nutrients that you
Nope.
need. In fact, your kids probably are depleting you right now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. It's a sacrificial love. So supplementation is really good. Making sure that you're doing gut health supplements, not just, oh, hey, this is a fat burner. This is what I need from like GNC or whatever. No, you need to get to the root of the problem. So I would say those would be the basics of what I would start with. Find that fun, sweaty activity, prioritize your protein, complete protein. So chicken, beef, fish, all of those, and your high fiber foods. And then water. Do not skip out on the water because that will either make or break you. I hate to say that.
Yeah. And then too, like we were talking about with the motivation versus discipline. Like I would say just pick one thing, even like one exercise. Okay, I'm going to do this every day or 5 days a week. Taking those steps. You start with 3 days a week, work up to 5, whatever it is. But just kind of breaking that pattern of laziness. And I'm talking to myself too, because honestly, like I've gotten into the rhythm of, okay, Zumba once a week. I'm like, okay, I need to step it up now. Especially now that it's getting warmer. I'm like, walks work. But just like picking that one thing and doing it. And if you need, like, find an accountability partner. I have a friend who will text me. She's like, hey, did you take your supplements today? She's like, how are you doing with your supplements? And that has helped me so much. But like, you could do it for working out too. And then also, just being in the Bible, being in the Word, spending that time with God. Like, it's so important. And a lot of times as moms, like we hear, oh, it's okay, you're in that season, you can't read your Bible right now. And that is some of the worst advice that we can give. It is so important. No, we may not be in our Bible for 30 minutes. It may be 30 seconds. It may be a minute each day. But opening our Bible and like spending that time in the Bible is so important for us, like for our mental health. And then, mental health leads to your physical health and all of that as well. And so as we close, I want to give kind of a couple questions, like food for thought questions for you. So what would your life look like if you had more energy, strength, and clarity? Like, how would it change? And then what is one area God is calling you to take responsibility for today? And last, what steps can you take today to start stewarding your body better? So we'll close there. Thank you all for listening. We hope this was helpful. And again, like, just remember, this is not about like judgment. This is not about, you're doing it wrong. It's about just kind of that food for thought and what can you be doing to help yourself as you grow in your walk with Christ. So we'll see you all next time.
We want to leave you with this one last thought. It comes from Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If this episode resonated with you, we'd love for you to come hang out with us over on Instagram. You can find us at The Strong and Steady. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. We'll see you next time on Strong and Steady.